Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 536, Jonesin' for a Train Ride. Hello, Big Chillians. Welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined as always with Eddie. Eddie, you know what they say. You have to win them on a cold Friday afternoon in Stoke. Blackburn are not doing it right now.
No. We've spoken over the last couple of episodes of the momentum that was building, and as we speak, they're currently 2-0 down to Stoke. Which, look, they weren't going to. I think sometimes when you talk to people about the championship, people can get a bit ahead of themselves and start to think as if, you're never going to lose again almost. And it's not the Premier League. Every team can beat pretty much every team. You saw last weekend Burnley drawing away to Blackpool, one of the worst teams in the league. So, Stoke are not terrible. It's not a good performance, but I'm not too disheartened.
Yeah, and we were supposed to record after the Blackburn match, but 2-0 down away, we figured why not hit that record button a little early.
Yeah, I've still got it on just in case. I've not given up hope. There's 30 minutes to go, so maybe a miracle will happen, but there's not been...
Do they have a shot on target yet?
Yes. No, yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. Actually, no. Technically, no, they do not. But no, there's, you never know. You got one back before the 80th minute, and then it gets a nervy final few minutes. That's all you need, They always say 2-1 is the most dangerous lead in football, right? So just one goal to get it to the most dangerous lead. Speaking about Leeds, though, and this isn't a transition to
Leeds United?
No. Actual
that would have been so good.
Advantages in sport. We don't spend a lot of time talking about cricket, although we might spend a bit more with Major League Cricket about to get, a few months away from getting going. But busy period in the cricketing calendar at the moment. Multiple test matches going on. England in a one-day and T20 series in Bangladesh. The Pakistani Super League coming towards the end of its season. The Indian Premier League about to kick off. And in the PSL today, which I usually watch in the afternoon as I'm doing my work, I put it on in the background. A notable achievement occurred, which, when we talk about franchise cricket, it means all of these various T20 leagues around the world. So you have one in England, you've got one in South Africa, Pakistan, Bangladesh has one, Australia, India, the Caribbean. It's pretty much everywhere cricket is played now. And today, the Peshawar Zalmi became the first team in franchise cricket anywhere to score 240 runs or more in consecutive matches, which is a huge total in a T20 match to put up 240.
Wow.
And what made it even more remarkable is, in addition to becoming the first team to score 240 runs in consecutive matches, they became the first team to lose in consecutive matches, having scored 240 runs.
What?
Yeah. Today they scored 242 for 6 in their first innings, and the Multan Sultans, with one of the best names in cricket.
Great name.
Yeah.
Great name.
Chase that down, scoring 244 for 6 with 5 balls remaining. So in the end, kind of cruised it.
Wow, that is both impressive and pathetic at the same time. I was literally going to ask, who are they playing? Like a bunch of just random people they picked up on the street? But those people must be pretty damn good, because they turned around and outbat them.
No, these are high-quality international cricketers. You obviously have, most of Pakistan's best players playing, but you've also got a bunch of West Indians, some Australians, South Africans. It's
how many sixes are scored in that match?
So
it's got to be quite a lot.
I can tell you. So Peshawar in the first innings hit 15 sixes.
Wow.
And in reply, the Multan Sultans hit
Great name. I got to get a jersey or a T-shirt or something.
hit 17 sixes. I mean, the standout
Nice.
innings was Riley Rousseau, who scored 121 runs off 51 balls. He hit 12 fours and 8 sixes.
Oh my God. So he had 20 boundaries and 50 balls.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great rate right there.
Yeah, scored at 237.25. So for if he'd faced 100 balls, he would have scored over 237 runs at that rate.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was exciting. It wasn't necessarily the highest quality, but it was in terms of bowling and fielding, but it was extremely exciting.
Yeah. See, and I think that's why the American Cricket League will be great being a T20, because if you can get matches like that, which, okay, you know, we talk a lot of time like with American football, like when teams score 50 versus 47. Okay, there's no defense, and maybe some people want some defense, but at the end of the day, the majority of fans who are casual fans love that offensive output. And to have something like that be the cricket you're presenting to Americans, I think is a promising way to get cricket involved in America.
Yeah, 100%. I think whenever you're trying to spread a sport and get new fans, you need scoring. You know, like it's, if you imagine trying to get someone interested in baseball, you can get them to turn up for one of the best pitching duels of all time and convince them like, this is incredible. We're going to the 9th inning and both starting pitchers have perfect games going. Like this has never been seen before. They'll probably be bored. Like the only way that you might...
But if you told them 32 home runs in a match.
Exactly. The only way maybe is if those perfect games were being sort of supported by incredible defensive plays. Like if they were just...
Still no.
But that might at least...
It's still boring.
But, you know, yeah, you want to see runs scored. You want to see big hits. You know, that's... If you're watching cricket or baseball, that's what you want to see. Speaking of which, I have to say I've been watching some of the preseason baseball to see the changes that they've introduced with the pitch clock and stuff, and it's actually made
the pitch clock.
It's actually made baseball somewhat watchable, which is you know, kind of nice.
There was a great side by side. I can't remember exactly what team it was, but it was like one pitch in the playoffs versus that same team in the preseason going through an entire 3 outs versus literally the time it took for one person to pitch one pitch in a playoff.
Yeah. And for people who don't understand how long that really means in baseball, the guy who's been putting those together, he put the same sort of pitch sequence next to the Kentucky Derby of the same year, and the Kentucky Derby was run in less time than it took that pitcher to throw a single pitch at one moment in time. So,
that's crazy.
You know, like, and again, no matter how into the sport you are, it's difficult to justify just having these like 2-minute long pauses with pickoffs and pitchers, you know, shaking the catcher off and then the batter stepping out of the batter's box. Like, no one enjoys that. Like, no matter how...
Now, that Kentucky Derby, did that include the 5-minute Bernanke breakdown with his stupid whiteboard running around?
No, it didn't. Nor did it include the probably 25-minute steward's inquiry at the end, but, you know, leading to some baffling disqualification. But yeah, no, it was... yeah, it's good. I mean, I'll definitely be watching more baseball. For example, the same logic. I like having sports on in the background that I'm not particularly necessarily invested in when I'm doing other work. Baseball's kind of been a tough one sometimes because as much as it's suited to that, it's so slow that it's not giving you that consistent semi-distraction. Now, at least, I might find it suitable for like, okay, hey, look, there's an afternoon baseball game. I'll throw that on in the background and keep something of an eye on it and get on with the rest of my day. I would have never done that in recent years.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I know there, not much sports going on, but I think a very big football news. Danny Dimes signed to a 4-year contract for the New York Giants. 4 years, 160 million, with I think another like 30 to 40 more incentives, and most of it over the first 2 years, which was actually a great move by the Giants because a lot of times 4 and 5 year contracts, the team will backload it. And therefore, if the quarterback ends up not being that great and they want to replace it, they're tied into a ton of money those last 2 years. But it's actually the opposite for the Giants, where if in 2 years he's not as good as he's not progressing as well as they thought, then they can kind of let go and move on and not kind of be tied down to not being able to sign anybody else. So it's been pretty back and forth with whether this was a good deal or not. As a Giant fan, I'm not super tied to Daniel Jones. I think he's good. I don't think he's great. I don't know if he's the type of quarterback that can win a Super Bowl. I honestly can't see him being a Super Bowl winning QB, but he's efficient and they did decent. So I'd rather have him than have nothing or starting at square one or doing like the let's pick up Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield and let's see what they can do. At least you have someone can win you some games, and maybe he'll keep progressing, with a better coach now. So I think there's some optimism there. And the big criticism, I think, was how high he's being paid. So I have the current list now in terms of AAVs. Do you want to guess how many QBs are currently being paid higher than him?
So Patrick Mahomes definitely is, right?
Yep.
I'll say, trying to think of who's signed contracts in recent seasons. I mean, he's kind of notable, right? Because usually when a starting quarterback signs a new deal, it's a record-breaking contract. So you could argue that you could argue that the Giants have done fairly well from a negotiation standpoint, just not to have to sign a record-breaking deal. I'll say 4 quarterbacks are earning more than him.
He's now the 7th highest paid quarterback. Okay. So Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen at 43, and then Daniel Jones at 40. And he's right there with Dak, Stafford, Carr, and Cousins, which I think are like decently comparable. I don't think any one of those guys are much better than Daniel Jones is. And then
the tier he's in is you're not going to win a Super Bowl with them probably, but if you're
Stafford did.
But if you're a head coach, you're probably not going to lose your job because of them, which I think is always the interesting thing, right? It puts just coaches and GMs in difficult positions because as a fan, you can say, hey, this guy isn't going to get us to the peak of the mountain. But, if you go through another rebuilding process, people grow tired of it. Personally, I would have wanted to franchise tag him. And then...
Yeah, I that would be the ultimate, I think, is the franchise tag him. But
so I would have given him one more year because basically we have one solid season of his career where it looks like he's a genuine NFL starting quarterback, kind of a playoff caliber quarterback. And even then there was a huge gulf between him and the elite. But I would have wanted just one, and I would have just said to him, like, we need one more year, one more solid body of, piece of work there, so that then we can put a contract together that we feel comfortable with. But, it's not going to be a franchise ending deal. As you said, they can kind of get out of it after 2 years without it being too big of a deal. Yeah. And I also agree with you.
And they're allowed to tag Barkley because of this.
Yeah.
And the tag on a running back is much lower. So actually that works out better for them than to have to have either tag Jones and then let Barkley go, which I think probably not the worst move. I mean, I've always been not so high on running backs, but I think from a new general manager, new head coach, to let go of the favorite player in the entire organization, both within the organization and the fan base, I think would have been a very risky move. So I think they're kind of playing the cards here of, look, we're building a culture, and we're going to keep the players that everyone loves that are still good, even though they're probably a little overpaid at this point. So
yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Well, I also think once you decided you're going to keep Daniel Jones, you kind of had to keep Saquon Barkley because you don't want to take away weapons while you're trying to develop this quarterback and put him in a position where he suddenly has lost an integral part of their offense. And yeah, you're right. Because you couldn't have given Saquon Barkley a new contract. He's too injury prone. He's now getting kind of quite up in age when it comes to running backs as well. Like they age so
Yep.
quickly. So he's the perfect candidate for a franchise tag. So yeah, it makes sense. It's one of those ones. If it goes badly, they'll be criticized for it. If he's terrible next season, you're going to have people, talking heads and stuff, ripping into them. But fundamentally, it's a logical move.
Yeah. And I mean, after 2 years, which would be halfway through the contract, he probably won't even be in the top 10 of highest paid QBs. And then when you think about what caliber he is, he's probably, right now I'd put him at the 10 to 15 range quarterback. So it's not a terrible deal. The Murray deal looks much worse compared to this.
Yeah, I mean, the standout bad deals are Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson. Those are the...
And maybe you could even say Deshaun Watson. Who knows? I mean, we haven't seen much from him last year.
Well, it's too early to judge. But yeah, potentially a terrible one. And obviously that one's fully guaranteed and stuff. So yeah, that's possibly the worst of them. But it also might turn out to be a pretty good deal.
I mean, what's crazy to me is if you're someone like Joe Burrow, who now sees Daniel Jones making $40 million a year, what must you be thinking? I think next year his contract comes up, so he'll probably sign a new contract next year. What must you be thinking? Like you're in the ballpark of $65 million a year?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
crazy.
It's tough though, because I think if you're smart, you've got to take the Tom Brady approach, and
super long term.
Well, you want to make money, but you don't want to make so much money that you're killing the cap of your team. You want to say, look, I'll make $40 million. Making $40 million a year is huge. And that's just from your contract with the team you're playing for. On top of that, the endorsements that you're making, you might be, touching 100 million potentially a year in whatever deals you have going on. So I think if he's smart, you decide to take a kind of, I hate the term team friendly because it makes it sound as if you're doing them a favor. I think you're doing yourself a favor. I think you're strategically saying, let's take a cap friendly contract so that I can be surrounded by talented players. And that's
especially as a quarterback.
Yeah.
I think the quarterback is the only one who has the incentive to take a team friendly deal.
Yeah.
Because so much of their success rides around everyone else.
Well, also
like if I'm like a running back or a wide receiver, I just take the most money I can,
Well, also too, the quarterback is paid significantly more than those positions. So you can take a $6-7 million pay cut, which allows them to sign an entirely new star player potentially in a position without feeling as if you're not earning enough. And also you've got a longer career. Like it's hard to tell a running back, take a team friendly contract, like to turn to Saquon Barkley and say, hey, we'd like to re-sign Daniel Jones. Do you mind maybe like taking 3 or 4 million under market value so that we can sign Daniel Jones? It's like, okay, that's great, because Daniel Jones is maybe going to play in the NFL for 16 more years. And if I manage to get another 6, it would be remarkable.
Yeah.
Like that's...
Instead of taking 75% less, can you take 90% less than Daniel Jones?
Yeah. So...
But, I mean, and in terms of their other options, I mean, right now you have Jimmy G, Aaron Rodgers, and maybe Lamar Jackson out there as potential big names. And I don't know if any of those options are better.
Lamar is the only one, right? Lamar is the one where it's just at a certain moment in time, he's reached maybe the tipping point in terms of his mindset and how trustworthy you could be, and bringing him into a new team, how well that he might be received. Like if he does what he's done this season with the Ravens, where it appears he was maybe healthy enough to play but decided he didn't want to. If you do that on a new team where you kind of have no equity, like at least in Baltimore, he's achieved enough where he maybe can make that decision without it seeming as if he's kind of
deserves it, kind of a little.
Yeah.
Earned it, I
Yeah.
guess.
But yeah, I think I wouldn't want to touch Aaron Rodgers at all. And I think Jimmy G, Daniel Jones is kind of much of a muchness, right? Like, I don't think either one of them is going to really get you there. Although, obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo's actually played in the Super Bowl, so he has that going for him.
And Aaron Rodgers has won a few MVPs.
Yeah, and yeah, but I mean, it's just an interesting one with Aaron Rodgers because it's you see with all the Aaron Rodgers talk, and obviously it looks pretty likely that he's going to the Jets, and you see how Tom Brady has sort of skewed the analysis of aging quarterbacks because there's just an assumption now that everyone can play quarterback at an elite level until they're 45. Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers is going to turn 40 next season. And, people just think, yeah, of course, he's 1 year removed from an MVP season. He'll probably be an MVP again before he retires.
Let's just scratch everything we watched from last year that made him look really bad.
Yeah. But
that was a blip, not that he's aging.
And scratch the playoff performances for the last 10 years. It's like, he's can string together pretty nice seasons in sometimes weak divisions and rack up tons of passing yards, but in critical games, he's not really delivered. I mean, including this season against, in the win and you're in playoff decider in week 18. And he didn't do enough.
Oh. And I mean, that is, for me, being from New Jersey, this is a very, very Jets thing. Like, Jets fans are probably so pumped. Like, oh, we got Aaron Rodgers. And just as pumped they were when they got Zach Wilson. And just as pumped as they were as they got this other guy. I think the Jets have just a terrible organization. Like, I never like the moves they make. They never seem like good moves to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him, but I mean, it's tough because they do have a good...
I'd rather want Jimmy G, to be honest. I'd rather take Jimmy G.
Yeah, it's tough because they have a good team. So it's this tough one because you don't want to waste the team that they have. I mean, I don't think they have a Super Bowl caliber team, but they have a good team. And so you don't want to suddenly not have... Yeah, you don't want to be filling the gap with Baker Mayfield and just punting seasons. But you also... you could get the end of 3 seasons with Aaron Rodgers, having never made the playoffs and kind of wasted that window whilst feeling like you had a star quarterback, but, a star quarterback in name, not in actual output.
So just wrapping up the Daniel Jones, Warren Sharp, who's an NFL analyst, I think he does some stuff for Fox Sports, but he's a pretty well-known NFL analyst, is not on the Daniel Jones resigning train. He has had, I think, 4 or 5 tweets in the past few days, just random statistics for why he thinks this Daniel Jones signing is just an awful move. The one that I found was kind of intriguing. He's the only quarterback in the modern era or passing era to play at least 10 games for 3 straight seasons, and in each of those seasons throw less touchdowns than the games played. So in 2020, he played 14 games and had 11 passing touchdowns. In 2021, he had 11 games played and 10 passing touchdowns. And in 2022, he had 16 games played and 15 passing touchdowns. So that is a little bit of a skewed stat considering he had a lot of rushing touchdowns, which don't obviously get accounted for, but he is a part of. But Warren Sharp definitely not on the Daniel Jones bandwagon.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good statistic. And maybe speaking of really good statistics, transitioning a little bit back to European football, just I guess we can talk a little bit about what happened in the Champions League this week. But a statistic that has been sort of pretty widely shared, but still maybe hasn't got the attention it's deserved, including it went into a couple of group chats that I'm in, and I saw it on social media a little bit. But in their match last weekend that we discussed, the Arsenal's comeback win against Bournemouth, it was the first time since the 22nd of January 1986 in a League Cup tie against Aston Villa that they named a starting 11 that did not have a single player that made a competitive appearance under Arsene Wenger. Now, that to
Wow.
some people might not seem that amazing because obviously if you're not
I mean,
from
it's 36 years.
yeah, but you might not know how long Arsene Wenger was at Arsenal. So he joined the club in 1996. So the sort of 10 years, he covers the 10 years preceding him, every match that was played in that 10-year period prior to him joining. One of those players subsequently played under him, and he left the club in 2018. So you're now at 5 years since he's
Another
left.
5 years.
Yeah. So
Jeez.
it's a significant period of time to have not been at a club and yet still had some kind of, particularly having left, you can't, not like you had an influence on the club before joining, but certainly it shows, the squad that he had when he left was still, and then obviously there's still players there. So it's not like there will be no more Wenger sort of related players ever appearing for Arsenal again, but kind of in speaking of eras, sort of an end of an era then I guess officially for Arsenal in that respect.
That's pretty crazy. I had a little trivia for you, actually, related to overall European football. And I guess we can tie this in because, Arsenal is leading the Premier League. And, maybe they have one of the top players in European football in total scoring. So my current trivia question for you is, as of now, who are the top 5 scorers in all competitions in European football?
So by all competitions, you mean all domestic competitions plus European competitions?
Yes. Not international, I
Yeah.
don't think.
So club,
Yeah.
domestic,
Yes.
club, European. I mean,
Yeah.
I have to throw Erling Haaland in there.
Yes. He is number 1 at 33 goals in 34 matches.
I'll have to put in, I mean, you're saying there's an Arsenal player.
No, I'm not saying. I said maybe there is an Arsenal player.
I'll throw in Victor Osimhen from Napoli.
Great guess. Not in the top 5. He is 4 goals away. He has 21 and 26.
Mbappe.
Hasn't played as much.
Presuming.
Mbappe is number 2. Everyone is talking about Haaland, but Mbappe has 30 and 31, although the French league is
he became
lacking in quality.
He became PSG's all-time leading scorer last weekend.
Yep.
He scored his 201st goal for PSG, I think it was. They made quite a big deal out of it during the match. And I don't know, if you're PSG, he's only, when you think of how short a time period he's been there, it kind of just makes a joke of both the league and your club history to have a player break your all-time leading goal scorer record in such a short period of time. And when you compare it to, say, someone like Harry Kane, who just became the Spurs all-time leading goal scorer, that took him a decade, pretty much, and Mbappe's managed to do it at PSG in 6 seasons. It's the contrast is pretty telling, I think. Okay, who else would be on that list? Is there an Arsenal player? If there is, I mean, I can't even think of who it would. It's like a red herring, I think. There's not an Arsenal player.
I mean, they're leading the Premier League, so right, they got to be scoring, no?
I mean, it's pretty well distributed though. So
it is,
because I would have thought maybe Saka.
I'll put you out of your misery there. There is no Arsenal in the top, not even in the top 10.
Lewandowski, is he up there?
He is number 5, 25 goals in 31 matches. Maybe a little disappointing if you're a Barcelona fan there.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
it's crazy to think 25 goals is disappointing, but when you look at some of the players around, you'd expect a little more.
Marcus.
So you have 1, 2, and 5 right now. You're missing 3 and 4.
Marcus Rashford.
Currently on fire, 26 in 41 matches. He is number 3, tied for number 3.
So I'm
with the last one you're missing.
See,
I would be impressed.
temptation is to name a Bayern player, but I don't think there will be a Bayern player because they're up front. They've had a number of injuries, and if it's Choupo-Moting, that will just depress me. If if he somehow managed to wrangle his way, are they playing in a top division? Like, is this a requirement here, or is this someone?
No.
As in top division, as
They
in
are in.
the first division in their respective country.
Yes.
Okay, this is.
Are they a top country? I would probably argue no.
Is it someone playing for Benfica?
No. Ramos is next. He's 6 for Benfica.
Yeah, I'll give up then. I'll put myself out of my own misery.
Okay. Enter Valencia for Fenerbahce.
Okay, yeah. Well, at least it's a list it's a high caliber list, that's for sure.
Yep.
So.
And you have Salah's up there in the top 10, and I think Kane is also in the top 10.
And speaking of Harry Kane, have to feel like that might have been the last time we see Harry Kane make an appearance for Spurs in European football. That was such a disappointing performance from Spurs on Wednesday at home to AC Milan, a team that are 5th in Serie A. So we're not talking about, they didn't lose to one of the elite teams in European football, put it that way. And Serie A, I don't think is particularly strong. You've got Napoli running away with it. I think there's not a lot of strength. And when you factor in Juventus's point deduction, helping AC Milan out there in terms of the table,
yeah,
I don't think there's a lot of strength and depth in Serie A. So 5th in Serie A should be significantly worse than 4th in the Premier League. And to play that second leg at home, coming into it only 1 down on aggregate, and really barely land a blow against AC Milan. They had a couple of half chances throughout the match, and then Harry Kane had what for him was a pretty good chance with 2 minutes to go, a header from a free kick. And, he did almost as much with it as you would have hoped. It just, in the end, slightly too close to the keeper, and the keeper made a decent save. But you would just expect, especially in those final 15, 20 minutes, they kind of picked up the pace a bit and put AC Milan under a bit of pressure. But you would just expect a team to really, you had nothing to lose. I mean, you're going out as things stand anyway. They weren't helped, obviously, by a sending off, but it was such a dismal performance that I think for Harry Kane, that has to make up his mind that he needs to go elsewhere. The thing that complicates things for him a bit is, I assume he wants to be the Premier League's all-time leading goal scorer. So that means he needs to stay in the Premier League, which then...
Yeah. Where do you go? Not City.
No, you would think not.
Probably not United.
I don't know, United...
Chelsea?
No, United's a likely landing spot.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, because, they've got Weghorst up front, and there's no way they...
Yeah, that's true.
There's no way they think we'd rather, figure out a way to keep Weghorst over signing Harry Kane. Chelsea, I guess, is a possibility on paper. They need a goal scorer, but to go from Spurs to Chelsea is, those are the big rivals.
Arsenal?
That's not going to happen either. It's almost certainly United, or if Liverpool gave up on Darwin Núñez after a season.
So my hesitation, I guess, with United is I feel as if they keep going out and trying to sign whoever and oversign, and that it didn't seem to be like the whole Ronaldo thing did not work out, and there's been a lot of signings they've had that have not worked out. So are they just going to keep doing that, or are they going to try and build with now what looks like a team that's starting to put it together a little bit? Like, do you want to mess with that?
Well, they need a center forward with the way they play. Harry Kane suits their style, and obviously he and Kane and Rashford for England link up quite nicely consistently, so you'd kind of look at that and say that's a positive. He's guaranteed, there's not many players in the world that you can just say are guaranteed 20 league goals a season. If you just, if he goes to Old Trafford, you can just I'd say pencil it in. You can pen it in. Like, it's barring season-ending injuries, it's just a guarantee. So you look at that United team and think, yes, Rashford's been scoring a lot of goals, but aside from Rashford, they don't really have consistent goal threats. If you added that in, I think you could make a compelling argument that this season, United with Kane would be right in the title race. So, if you're them, it's the kind of marquee signing that you'd want. I think if you're the Glazers and you decide not to sell, it's the kind of marquee signing that shows that you're committed to the club. And vice versa, if the club were to be sold, that's the kind of signing you have as a new owner, which is a statement of intent. Of like, look, I'm here and I've brought Harry Kane. I've brought the best goal scorer in English football to the club. What else can I do? You better love me. So I think United is the likely landing spot. The only way it's not is if he decides he really wants to be like a one club, barring a loan spell, player. Like, if that really means a lot to him, that he will go down as this super loyal Premier League great. But I don't think he tarnishes his Spurs legacy by leaving.
Who wasted a chance to never get trophies?
Yeah, because I think if he stays at Spurs, I think he never wins anything. And, his best hope of winning something is probably with England. That's not a great position to be in. Like, that's not, there aren't many players over the last 60 years who have said, my best chance at a trophy is playing for the England national team, and have said it seriously. So, yeah, I think he deserves to be part of a really good team. I also do think if he cares about his legacy, you have that risk. If England never win something, there are people who poke holes in him from an all-round play perspective, and they'll think of him as just this kind of flat-track bully who managed to score goals in somewhat meaningless matches, but when the matches really counted, he comes up a bit short. You add the penalty miss against France to that list. He was injured when Spurs made the Champions League. He probably shouldn't have even played, but he didn't play well. Kind of all of these big moments he hasn't delivered. He needs to go to a good team so that he gets more of those big moments and is actually able to show what he's capable of doing on the biggest scene. And we kind of, in spite of how great his career has been, we haven't really seen exactly what he can do when the moment matters the most.
Yeah, we'll have to keep on watch for that once the season ends.
Yeah, and finally, I guess we can say Chelsea, for the first time this year, calendar year, looked really quite good against Dortmund. I mean, they really dominated that match, managed to win 2-0, get through. I mean, helped a little bit by a soft penalty and then being allowed to retake the missed penalty, which is the correct decision. But I think for encroachment, you could basically have every penalty retaken if you really looked at it. Like, I don't think there's a penalty taken where there isn't a player in the box at the moment the penalty is struck. And I also think it's an interesting one because there was also, I think a Chelsea player was the first player to encroach, and then it was a couple of Dortmund players also did. And it's a weird one there of why do you get to retake it? Because you never see for the encroachment, you never see the penalty scored and they are forced to retake it. Like, the encroachment only bails out the penalty taker, if you see what I mean. Like, you never watch, oh, wow, they scored, and then 2 minutes later, like, no, sorry, one of your players is in the box. We need you to take that again. And so I almost feel like if I were a team tactically, you'd be like, hey, guys, just encroach, because probably a defender will go with you. And then if we miss, this might be our get out of jail free card.
Yeah, it must make friend of the podcast Ollie happy to finally see some wins.
It didn't even normally, he's likely to kind of crow a bit in our group chats. I think he's so resigned to how poor their season is. We didn't have a peep out of him. So, and that's the real litmus test of what this Chelsea season has done to the supporters. There's no bragging going on.
Do you have any more sports related topics, Eddie? Because I have one non-sports.
No, I think that's probably pretty much it.
Have you watched the season premiere of The Mandalorian? I know you're a big Star Wars fan.
I have not. I think.
Wow. Surprising.
I think I decided that I only have time in my
Done.
life. No. I'll watch it eventually, but I only have time in my life for one Pedro Pascal sort of experience.
Lone wolf and cub scenario.
A week?
I mean, it's basically the same thing, but one's with a child and one's with a puppet.
Yeah, one's in space, one's a zombie apocalypse. Like it's I'll watch it eventually. But I just when you throw in watching sport and work and stuff and having The Last of Us, I also don't have that much time for another TV show. So I have yet to watch.
I've got time, Eddie.
I've yet to watch them. It's true, I do, but I've yet to watch The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it's people are not happy because a lot of people did not watch the Book of Boba Fett, which in the last 3 episodes basically turned into season 2.1 of The Mandalorian. So those who have not watched it, what happens in the beginning of season 3 for The Mandalorian, people have no idea. Like, wait a second, what the hell's going on right now? Because you end season 2 with him dropping off Grogu with I guess not dropping off, but Grogu goes with Luke Skywalker. Yeah. So that is not how season 3 starts. I'll put it that way.
That's a good point. I can barely remember what happened in the Book of Boba Fett. I think I've tried to like Men in Black wipe that from my brain, but
I mean I know this isn't what happened because obviously the season is done and completed, but the way that season of Boba Fett went, it was as if they did 4 episodes and were like, shit, this is not good and people do not like this. Let's just go back to Mando. Because that's what ends up happening is if I remember correctly, it's like one episode has a little bit and then the next episode's like a little more and then the last one's just a full Mandalorian episode.
Yeah, I mean, there was an episode that I think didn't even have Boba Fett in it.
Yeah, I think so.
There was, you have a titular character, and I think there was a full episode in which he didn't appear.
But yes, so the first 2 episodes are now out. So I've only watched the first one. So I'll wait a little bit. Maybe after Last of Us ends, you can catch up and we can get on the back end if it's still worth it.
You mean, or if it becomes.
We do have another show we will be talking about, Eddie, that you're going to have to invest in, and that's Ted Lasso starts Wednesday. So Wednesday the 15th, I believe.
Is Pedro Pascal in that?
Yes, he is. He actually adopted that girl that was in that one episode that you very much did not like. He's teaching her how to play football.
Oh, excellent. That's just what it needs. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Ted Lasso, as we've discussed previously. Great season 1, probably a mediocre season 2, and so this is the real test. Like how will they deliver in season 3? And my fear is I think we both had pretty much the same criticisms, but it felt as if it went from like a kind of, I don't mean this as an anti-American slant, but like a kind of English humor style show made for a wider audience, and then because of the huge popularity of season 1 became more of a like general release American sitcom style, which took away some of the kind of entertainment of the humor and maybe even the intelligence of it. Hopefully season 3 they get back to what they were best at in season 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think season 2 was not as good as season 1, but in terms of comedy shows on television or streaming, it's probably still the best one, even with that slight knock down from season 1, because there just aren't many good television shows. There's not many good feel good shows that you just kind of have fun watching anymore. Everything's so deep and dark and heavy. So that's why I really, really like Ted Lasso, because you laugh a little, you feel good, you're not
Except
emotionally invested.
season 2, they brought some of the emotional aspect in, obviously with Ted Lasso's anxiety, with can never
Which
remember.
seems like it will be a theme of season 3
based on the trailer. Yeah, they still had that figure in the trailer. And then obviously can't remember the name of the wonder kid who turned heel and has now absolutely improbably the manager of West Ham United. But you had that whole storyline. It got maybe a little too deep. Like, I wanted surface level, feel good. We deal with some issues, but we mostly just everyone has a nice time. Isn't this a simple world where this like basic man from Kentucky or wherever he's supposed to be from can turn up and basically read you a fortune cookie and you feel better about yourself? Like, that's what I wanted from Ted Lasso. I didn't want to watch him having a mental breakdown in a dark bedroom. Like, that's too much for me.
Yeah, and I guess you're right. We'll have to see what happens with Nathan, who was the one-time equipment manager, half a season, low-level assistant coach, straight up to the West Ham manager. So that's going to be an interesting. And then with the 180 heel turn as being the most asshole villain ever created in a 3-episode span.
Yeah.
So
because he didn't get enough credit for his incredible tactic of
hold the bus.
Yeah, park the bus. Yeah, of sit back, absorb pressure, and maybe try and hit them on the brake. The most basic of tactical plans ever put together. But because he wasn't recognized universally as a wonder kid, only in some newspapers, he was. I mean, that doesn't bother me, because like, this is obviously not a TV show set in reality. You can pick holes. He definitely doesn't have the coaching badges necessary to be a Premier League manager. Like, he just wouldn't be allowed to be. But then Ted Lasso doesn't either, so you can't start assessing it from that perspective. But yeah, I look forward to this bitter West Ham AFC Richmond rivalry.
Yeah. I have to say, though, I did the last trailer they released with the Rolling Stones. I like that trailer. That trailer kind of got me excited a little bit. It's a good song to kind of get you like in the mood.
The other thing I do like about the trailer, the implication is that they will be struggling. And I at least like that they don't go kind of completely lose their minds and we suddenly have
Leicester.
Yeah, but I mean, at least, but the promoted team who are suddenly in the top 4, who would have seen it coming? But this, amazing Ted Lasso story continues. So I do hope that they are struggling, and they can now just have West Ham struggle as well.
Yeah. The other show, Eddie, that comes back soon, that some would label somewhat of a comedy, Barry, season 4. I don't know if you watch Barry, but it's a very, very good show, and it's in its final season.
I watched the first 2 seasons of Barry. I really enjoyed it. And then it was just too difficult to watch from like where the platforms it was on here. And so season 3, I just didn't watch at all. So before I watched season 4, I would have to go back and watch season 3. I really loved it. It's just one of those, it's the downside sometimes to all of these multiple streaming platforms, is like, it's not the convenience of a sort of cable or satellite experience. And there are these moments where you just not maybe paying attention to that particular like service provider and realize,
well, for Americans, it's on HBO, which is pretty easy.
Yeah, and in the UK, it's on Sky, but it's on Sky at weird times and stuff. But still, you say it's easy, but not everyone's got HBO, right? So then it's on Hulu, I guess.
Well, if you don't have HBO, Eddie, then stop listening to this podcast. I don't want to talk to you.
Well, I don't have HBO, so
if you're American and you don't.
Yeah. No, I just think this is the big issue. I was speaking to someone the other day who hadn't watched Severance. I think Severance is one of the best TV shows from the last 12 months. But
I'll give you a hot take. I haven't finished it.
okay, that's
I really liked it, and then some other things just kind of got in the way. And it's one of those shows that you have to be in the mood, the right mood to watch Severance.
but I also think that's part of my point is like because it's on Apple TV and you're probably not going there that frequently. So even when you are then considering your options, Severance isn't kind of being debated with the consistency. Like if you stuck Severance on Netflix, you'd be thinking about it a lot more.
Yeah.
But there's like 6 things on Apple TV. So
You hate to you love to bash Apple TV, but I think Apple TV is decent.
value for money wise, you cannot cook.
Severance, Ted Lasso, For All Mankind,
Which I didn't watch, but I'll.
and now there's a lot of new ones coming out. Like Apple's making a really big push this year with some like high profile TV shows.
Yeah, I mean like shrinkage or shrinking, whatever.
Yeah, Shrinking with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford.
But
People have said it's already renewed for season 2.
the problem is, like, to use the kind of base, they have such little content on the platform that they have to bat 1,000 to kind of deliver value for money in the way that Netflix does. Netflix is almost a reverse approach, which is like, we're just going to have a ton of crap.
Throw 1,000 things at the wall.
Yeah. And you'll like one of them. Like, you're going to hate a lot of this. Like, a lot of this is not for you, and a lot of this is garbage. But you're going to like
a lot of it is just bad.
Yeah, but it's a lot of stuff. And so you'll spend a lot of time looking through all of our content. The nice thing, I guess, about Apple TV is you can make your mind up really quickly as to whether or not you're going to watch something. Because it's like, all right, there's 9 things. Nope. Netflix, you could spend 3 hours scanning various, types of programming and then get to the end of it and have still selected nothing, and also not even have come up with a good short list of stuff you want to watch. But I do think it's the weird thing. I feel like when we had 1, maybe 2 streaming platforms, it felt like it was giving you more freedom and flexibility. And now that there are so many,
it's even worse.
I just want to go back to having just normal TV. Like, this is all I want now.
Oh, I don't think you're alone in that. I think there's a lot of people now who are disliking streaming because there's too much going on right now.
Because there is that,
and eventually it's gonna something's gonna have to happen because they already consolidate and then like branch off and consolidate and branch off, because now I think Showtime is now part of Paramount, so that one has like been condensed now, and it's like Discovery is condensing, I think, into I can't remember now, but it's like they're like a new streamer's made and then it's gone in a year, besides the major big ones. So eventually there's going to be some consolidation there, I think.
Well, also, I mean, you have like Pluto. Do you have Pluto?
I don't have it, but that is like live TV.
Yeah, it's like it's where technology goes full circle, and someone sat in a room trying to raise money and was like, all right, can you imagine? It's like Netflix, but it's all live. You can't pick exactly what you want to watch. There's sort of like channels, and that just plays content continuously. You don't decide what's on, and then we're going to stick ads in it so that we make money off the advertising breaks. Someone's going, oh my God, what a crazy deal. You're revolutionizing like the TV industry. And they've just pitched old-fashioned television on a streaming platform.
One of the shows that Pluto has, I don't know if you know, but it's like I don't remember what the channel. I think it's called Slow TV is the channel on Pluto, and it's just like a camera in front of a train, and the train just goes, and you just sit there and watch it. And it's one of those things, you put it on, you could kind of get trans into like watching it.
Trans.
Trans.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, we got really controversial here. If you watch a train for too long, you turn trans. But you have a whole new channel called Trans Spotting, and it's just trains, but eventually you turn. I've read about that, and I've watched clips from it, and it's remarkable. I get it, because I mean, I watch things on YouTube that are so mind-numbing. Like, it's like such basic stuff. I will watch people traveling places, and places I'm never going to go, and I have no real interest in ever going, it's not quite as boring because you still have someone like narrating or talking about what they're experiencing, and this is literally just like first person perspective from a train. And yeah, you stop.
It's not first person, it's first train
first train.
perspective.
And you do just
it's like Thomas the Tank Engine perspective.
And you do just stop and like I saw a highlight reel of it, and which included they were like, oh yeah, we stopped at a station for 35 minutes. We were just
for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, just stationary.
And you're just stopped stationary at the station, and it's not like the camera's panning so you like see the people. It's just looking straight ahead.
Yeah, it's a crazy world we live in. Like this, and that's where I can understand someone. I can get it puts me in a difficult position because I can both understand why someone would watch it, and at the same time it blows my
I'm watching it right now as we're podcasting on my second monitor. It's just this train. It is All Aboard Rainy Day Summer Run Part 1. Take a relaxing trip through the European countryside as a light summer rain falls from an overcast sky. And it is living up to that plot.
But would you ever? It would be like, as for me, as someone who lives in Europe, tomorrow, it's basically saying tomorrow, if I really wanted to relax, I would just go hop on a train, sit there, and just watch the world go by for 6 hours. And I would never do that. And if
it just went in a tunnel and it's pitch black. It's just been pitch black for 15 seconds.
No, I mean, but and if one of my friends, I would judge one of my friends a lot less for saying they watched this for like 2 hours yesterday. And they're like, okay, I kind of
then hopped on a train.
But if they just said, I had nothing to do yesterday, so I took an hour-long train ride out of Paris and an hour-long train ride back into Paris just to see the countryside and see what the world was like. And I would think they were
read a little bit of a book.
Yeah, I would think they were a real weirdo. Although in reality, that's actually a much more interesting day.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, watching this, it looks like, I don't know if this is at all accurate, but it does look like the French countryside a little bit. And watching this makes me kind of go like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to take a nice just train ride from, one part of France to the next? That would be so nice.
And don't get me wrong, I love trains. And one of those things I want to do is like,
I do too,
those super long train rides like across Canada and stuff that you can do where you do just go through endless beautiful scenery.
Yeah, like the Hogwarts Express. I'd love to get on
that. Not for me. But yeah, those ones in like Canada and Alaska that you see that look spectacular, those I would love to do those. So
yeah, Norway has some good ones too.
Yes, but at the same time, maybe the downside of it is part of in my mind goes like, okay, a 7-day long train ride across Canada. At what moment in time do I think I may have seen enough beautiful scenery? When have I had enough? And I go, oh, look, we're going by another incredible lake and some mountains. That's...
I mean, I'm sure this has already been done, but maybe we can kind of make this like a cruise meets train where like you're on a train that's a sleeper train, but then it'll stop at a place and you spend like a day or two at the place, then you hop back on the train and keep going and see the scenery and then stop for like a day at another little small town.
Oh yeah, that 100% exists.
Are you sure? Because I think the ones you're talking about, I thought they just go straight. Like they don't stop for a whole day.
For those ones do kind of just go straight. There are ones that do the stop start, and plus you can...
That would be kind of nice.
You could plan your journey, because obviously you could just get off it on one day and then get back on to do the like next leg of the journey the next time. But yeah, those ones were... Because the other thing too is they are incredibly expensive. Like when you really... Because I've watched a YouTuber who that's what he does. Actually, like, and again, that's why I kind of get the train channel. He just takes train journeys around the world. And here's the other thing, like, they have shows like this on the BBC that my parents watch, like, and if I go to stay with,
is this worse? Or I guess worse isn't the right word. Is this more strange or less strange than like Planet Earth?
I guess they're on a par with each other, but I guess. You probably
not the Planet Earth that like describes things. The Planet Earth that's literally just like sunrises in different locations and things like that.
Okay, no, I thought you were talking about like the Attenborough. he's telling you this.
No, it's like Planet Sunrise.
Oh,
I don't think it's called Planet Sunrise, but something like that.
oh no,
Where it's like
that's
Planet Earth Wake Up or
no,
something.
no, no, that's way worse. Because at least with the train, like the train journey ones my parents watch are actually better than the train journeys I watch in a sense, because then they're trying to give you like historical facts. The guy's like, I'm going to take the train from Paris to Rome. And then he tells you things about that journey, about how, like the history of that, connecting those two cities and stuff like that. You learn a lot of interesting things. The one I watch, he just says, and on the second day, they served steak for lunch. It was pretty good. And, and he's just reviewing the experience, right, of this 5-day train journey. And then you get to the end of it and he goes, so the total cost of that journey was $7,500. And then I think to myself,
Jeez.
no, I mean, it's like super expensive, but then I gotta edit that out now, Frank. But I also,
Oh, sorry.
do you want to give a review of that?
Tasty.
Well, there we go. You can kind of say it's like an like going to a Club Med sort of thing. Like you've got everything. You're not going to spend any more money than that while you're on the train. So I can get it. It's all of your meals. It's your accommodation. It's absolutely. Well, I mean, I say all of your meals. There's still like a drinks car. So if you do one, like in the evening, if you want to have some drinks, you're paying for that yourself. But I don't know. That would be the other downer.
What's the noise blocking abilities of those sleeper cars?
Yeah, I don't think it's great. So yeah, I think if you're not an easy sleeper, I think that could be. I mean, some of them are super luxurious though, but others not so much. You are like some of them are luxurious for a train, which when you then really get on it, you're like, that's
Yeah.
not that luxurious. Some of them are luxurious for anything, but it's the same.
Those ones are super fan. That's the ones that go from like Paris to Nice and are
Yes.
like $7,000.
Yeah. Well, you have like the Orient Express that has like you can do Paris to Venice on the Orient Express, for example, and that's just like out of this world luxury. But that's
very opulent.
Yeah, but that's like a 32-hour train ride, and it is $10,000. So
Yeah.
You've got to really be into the experience to justify spending that kind of money.
Now, let me ask you this as a way to wrap up us talking about a TV show about a camera on the front of a train for 15 minutes. If you had the money, would you prefer to do, let's stick with what you said, was it Venice or Rome?
That was Venice, yeah.
Would you stick with the Paris to Venice via the super fancy train or private jet?
I would train always. If
Really?
If money were no option, I mean, obviously there's times when time constraints.
But I think you have to play that in no matter what.
Well, no, but I mean, if you're telling me I've got to be in Venice tomorrow for some important event, then the train's out the window. But
you have a week vacation in Venice.
Oh, I'm train. No, not thinking twice. I would take the train at every opportunity.
You'd rather waste a day on a train than be in a private jet where you can get also very opulent, but a 10th of the time?
For starters, I don't think I'm a private jet person. I think
But you're a private train person.
Not to get too lefty and liberal here.
Oh, don't get environmental on me. Because if you're going to say that paying $10,000 to get on a train that probably has 10 other people on it to chug all the way across using coal for 22 hours is more energy efficient.
I mean,
what about the 4 poor guys in the back that are shoveling the coal into the train? You think it's fun for them, Eddie?
No, I genuinely would say I don't think I would take a private plane unless you were in like emergency situations. So that was the only way of getting somewhere in the time that you needed, or obviously, if it was just like I'm trying to fly from, I don't know, say I'm a billionaire and I'm trying to fly to Arizona to see you, then yes, the prospect of a private plane where I can fly direct from Paris to Tucson versus taking at least one connection, possibly two, like that bit you could maybe convince me. But I think in general, I would train always, always, always. Like, I mean, you're talking to someone who I've gone on business trips from Paris to Manchester and I've taken the train the whole way. Like that's a 90-minute flight. I took I took like 11 hours by train. Like there was
That's pretty funny.
and it was more expensive by train, throwing in the multiple. So I didn't save money, I didn't save time.
And it costs more energy. And you ruin the planet a little more.
See, I still think environmentally that was probably the more friendly option.
Yeah, because you're on a commuter train. But if you're riding that Orient Express that has like 15 other people on it,
I still think it's probably more environmentally friendly than a plane. We can do research.
I don't know.
Listeners,
we'd have to ask.
Listeners, if you have strong opinions, this is obviously the good opportunity for us to say, follow us on Instagram or Twitter. You can tell us your thoughts there. We maybe run a poll on Twitter, and people can give their vote. And also something we don't ask you to do very frequently, but I guess if we're good podcasters, we have to every once in a while. Probably not the smartest.
Donations?
Probably not the smartest to do at the very end of the episode. But if you've made it this far, then do make sure that you subscribe and leave us a review or on whichever podcast platform that you use, because it just does help us to get more listeners. Hopefully, if you've made it this far, a positive review. But I'd actually rather take a negative review than no review.
Wow. Helps
the algorithm.
You've got crazy opinions all day.
Look, I would always rather listen to a podcast, I think. I would definitely listen to a podcast that had like 10,000 one-star reviews. I would be like, I've got to see what's going on here.
This must be terrible.
I got to see why
these people must be huge a-holes.
Yeah, like why do people keep coming back?
It's just Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah, that's true. Rogan probably does have that many negatives, but he's got a ton of positives too. Oh, I won't even go into my recent Joe Rogan experience, but not obviously personal.
Thank you. I can talk Pluto TV train rides all day. I don't have time for Joe Rogan.
Or would you rather, final question for you then to wrap things up, would you rather sit on a 4-hour private jet with Joe Rogan it's difficult to do the train versus private jet because you're just going to pick whichever one's shorter, I presume. And I can't think of someone else who would be like the equivalent, like the slightly more enjoyable.
Or 22 with Bill Simmons on a train.
I take Simmons.
I would take that
time.
all day.
Yeah. I mean, Simmons is my nemesis, but I would still very happily be sat next to him because I think I would.
Yeah, I like Bill Simmons. So you're the only one who is your arch nemesis.
Well, you only experience him through the rewatchables.
A little bit on the Bill Simmons podcast if it's of a topic I'm interested in.
And you think I'm alone? Go read the Bill Simmons subreddit, and that is people who love him. I mean, that's just all it is. It's people every episode. Oh, this is the worst of Bill Simmons. This is why we hate Bill Simmons. Oh, he's not what he used to be, but they're still listening to every episode.
Upon the fourth time I listened to it, I really understood how terrible he is.
It's people just ripping it. It shows us. I mean, I hope we get to the stage where we've got a subreddit with 20,000 people in it or whatever it is. If any listener wants to go out there and create the Big Chill Podcast subreddit, we're never going to create it for ourselves. So by all means do. I will read it. I doubt Frank
Well, yeah, because we tried. They wouldn't let us.
I would read it. I don't think Frank would. But, it's obviously a compliment to have that many people participating in your subreddit, but it is just such a cesspool of negativity that it is. Most of the people who have decided to join that subreddit have done so just so they can bash you on a weekly basis.
You're right. I probably wouldn't read it. I mean, I think I have to be on Rate My Professor, right? I've never read that.
Maybe is that public can anyone access that?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, maybe we're gonna have to dedicate an episode to reading your reviews.
I can't imagine I have many. I only teach one course, so
Well, if there's 3,
I probably only have like 5 reviews.
yeah, and the likelihood is, based on what you tell me about your class, it's probably people leaving like super banal positive reviews, like, Frank is a good professor. I enjoyed his course.
Easy course. Easy A. I hope that's what it says.
Yeah, that's every professor's dream.
Oh, anything else, Eddie, before we wrap up?
No, that's pretty much it for me. I guess, because there might be some listeners who will never check what the Blackburn score ever was. They went 3-0 down. They fought back to 3-2.
I know.
They kind of gave themselves a little bit of a chance, saying that they scored in the 86th and the 90th minute. So it never felt likely. But you never know. I guess the positive.
Good fight.
Well, goal difference, unlikely to play a part, but it might do. And you may as well. It's better to lose 3-2 than 3-0. So let's just take those final 6-7 minutes of the performance and put them into a full 90 next time out.
Actually, Eddie, I did have one question we can do quickly as a wrap up and as a preview for the Last of Us finale. So we've talked a few times about, what would we do in that certain situation and things like that. We did already discuss the would we eat each other or would we eat someone. We won't go into. I'd heard a few other people doing the what part of the human would you eat first. We don't have to get into the specifics.
But
that's the general consensus. Leg. Start with the upper portion of the leg.
Oh no, mine's full on butt cheek. I mean, that's the obvious.
Yeah, but that's basically part of when you take a chicken thigh.
Yeah, I know, but I'm going butt.
Wing.
I know, but I'm not going upper leg. I'm not going into your thigh. I'm going butt cheek.
Okay. All right.
Let's see.
Relax over there. My question, Eddie, is if we go back to episode 6 or 7, I believe, the one with the flashback to the
mall.
I can't think of the mall episode. They played some video games and they were huge fans of Mortal Kombat 2. Let's go nostalgia here. And what would be your arcade game of choice? Do you want to think about it? Because I can start with mine.
I can give one immediately.
Wow.
It's Time Crisis.
Classic. It's classic game.
It's automatically Time Crisis.
Yep. Time Crisis also on my list. I had a bunch, so I was thinking, because I thought about this the other day. I think to throw a little sports in the mix, you could do NBA Jam and NFL Blitz a little bit. Both decent games.
But I kind of associate those both more with consoles, even though I know they exist in arcade format. But to me, my experience of that was more from consoles.
I think mine's about 50-50. I will give you mine that I used to play all the time when I was younger, because one of the places I used to play hockey used to have it, and it was one of the only games it had. Off-Road. I don't know if you ever played Off-Road. It was from a visual standpoint, it was a terrible game. It was the little monster trucks that would go around the track, and you'd have to spin the wheel really fast and spin it the other way and curve out, and you had little boosters. Very minimalist game, but there's something about it that I could just play it for hours. It was just, you could get into it really easily.
Driving games would be on the list.
Cruising USA.
Yeah, Cruising USA would be up there for sure.
Classic.
Speaking about arcades, and this combines actually both topics: the desire to go by train and arcades. When I was 19 maybe, we planned a group trip, a guy trip to Croatia from Paris. And when we looked at the prices of flights, so we're going to Hvar, which is an island, a holiday island, party island off the coast of Croatia. And we're a little bit ahead of the trend, I have to say, from an international perspective. It's now become like one of the most popular destinations in Europe, but we were there a little bit early. I was a trendsetter in that respect. But
where was my invite on this?
I didn't know you at this point.
Had to be pretty close.
Yeah, this is I met you probably three years later, I guess.
Oh, thanks for the invite.
Sorry. I'll just next time I'll just send open invitations out to the world and hope that someone I like in the future comes along. But yeah, we planned this trip. It was with a bunch of guys I went to high school with, and we were coming from Paris, and we looked at the flights we were going to Split in Croatia. And the flight was like round trip Paris to Split was, I don't know, 250 euros. But then we looked and we're like, well, we could take the Eurostar to London for like 90 euros round trip. And then we could fly from one of the London airports to Split for like 100 euros round trip. So like we could save like 60 euros from doing this. And
oh my God,
I gotta say,
looking back on that, how ridiculous of a thought was that?
And here's the thing is like, I don't want to make it seem like the price was didn't matter at all, but fundamentally, like, we weren't needing to save that money. And we opted for the London option, and our flight out of London then was at like 6 a.m. So we're like, well, we'll just go to some bars in London. We'll have a fun night out in London, and then we'll
go right to the airport.
Yeah. And then we realized,
oh my God, this has disaster written all over it.
Well, then we realized the trains weren't going to be running early enough for us to take the train to get to the airport. So we're going to have to take a taxi to the airport. That was going to completely blow the logic of going to London first out of the water. So we decided to go to the airport pretty much straight away, spend the evening, like the night in the airport, and we presumed that there were going to be.
This sounds so terrible.
We presumed that there were going to be bars open. Like, oh, there's going to be like
they closed
24-hour bar or something. But no, at 11 o'clock, everything's shut. And literally the only thing open 24 hours was the arcade. And so we just went to the arcade and played in the arcade for maybe 6 hours. And
was it just you guys in the arcade? Was anyone else in there?
No, it was just the 5 or 6 of us in the arcade. No one else ever stepped foot inside.
That's awesome.
I mean, there weren't many people in the airport at all, because
this is like The Last of Us.
Yeah, because this wasn't even, this was just like the European. We were in just the terminal for European flights. So, you're not getting people on. It's not like you're going on the major international flights and people have big layovers or something. You're not really experiencing that. So there weren't really there was no one else there. And I conservatively would estimate I spent £150 in that arcade.
Oh, that's so good. I love it. That is amazing. So wait, let me ask you this. Did you play? Because I'm thinking now of like expensive games. The most expensive game that there ever was that you could never get past like 3 or 4 minutes was that dragon flying game. Do you know that game I'm talking about? Where it was like way ahead of its time. It had like super nice graphics, and you would be the dragon. You'd be like flying in the sky, but it costs like $2 to play for 5 minutes.
I'd say I probably spent 60% of the money on Time Crisis. Like
so good.
We just determined we were going to beat Time Crisis. That became like the group goal.
Did you beat it?
No. And so we were just, just sticking more money in and rotating in and out. But eventually you'd kind of, every once in a while, someone would let it slip, like someone would just lose their patience with it. And so then you wouldn't be able to then get that person back in. And then that was kind of the end of the road. Then you had to start all over again. So no, we didn't do it. The only other notable thing from that trip was that was the day indoor smoking became illegal in the UK. And so I've never been a smoker. But 2 of my friends did smoke the last ever cigarette this was in Heathrow, I think. Okay, I think it was Heathrow, not Gatwick. But yeah, smoked the last ever cigarette as it went to midnight when they were closing the smoking lounge. They and it's, kind of have their moment in history, having that.
I bet you they got plaques on the wall because of that.
Yeah, having those final cigarettes.
Yeah, I mean the other games that we used to play a lot, arcade games, were the ones where you'd spend a ton of money trying to beat it, were The Simpsons and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were two pretty good arcade games that you would spend a ton of money just trying to continually play and beat it. And there were those ones where it was like 2D, but then a little bit of a 3D where you could kind of go like up and down like a little bit, but not really. It was like really, when you look back on it, it was really, really bad of how kind of like 2.5 dimensional it was. But those were so good in the day. They were just such good games.
Speaking about billionaire splurges, if I were a billionaire and had, a huge house, I would definitely put an arcade in it. Even though I would probably use it twice a year, but just for that moment, every once in a while, someone came over to your house and you're like, let me just show you this. And you opened up a room filled with all the classic arcade games. And
you could even do now, like you can get that one that has like 50 games.
That feels.
I know you don't want that. I know you want all individuals. I get it, but you could at least start with that.
Those feel cheap. Then that to me is like play a console, buy yourself an Xbox, like then I'd
definitely get skee ball in there though.
Yeah. Oh no, I'd have
four-person skee ball at least.
Air hockey. I'd have I'd want everything. I was thinking to myself,
the gun fill up the balloon game. You get like 8 people on that at a party.
Because I was thinking to myself the other day, I'd really like to have a pool table in my house.
Yeah,
because
I need a lot of room for that.
Yeah, you do. You need one room that you have no other need for. Really,
we had one in college in our basement.
Yeah, but because I was thinking to myself the other day, like if I had a pool table right now, how many hours of pool do I think I'd play by myself per week? And we
did it a lot. You play it, I think, more frequently than you think.
Yeah, and then it'd be like, how good at pool could I become?
Not very good.
I'm not a great pool player. Darts, which is a more realistic thing for me to have in my house, I think I could at least become a decent darts player. But I think I could play a lot more pool by myself than I could play darts by myself.
I thought about getting a dartboard in my office, but I think the noise would be too much for my surrounding colleagues because the dart does make a noise when it hits the board. So I think it would be really annoying because it would be on their wall, so.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an asshole move.
But I do like the idea if you're rich in arcade. I mean, if I were rich, I wouldn't buy that big of a house. But what I would definitely do is I would definitely have my own gym for sure. That would save me so much time to like not have to, 1, drive to a gym, and 2, deal with people.
What do you need in your gym?
I need like a decent rack, a good amount of weights, good amount of dumbbells, and maybe like 2 to 3 machines. I don't need like all the machines, just like 2 or 3 that I use.
I mean, we know you need an elliptical.
Oh, I'd love an elliptical.
That would be.
And a Stairmaster at this point now. I'm invested in the Stairmaster.
Stairmaster takes up a lot of space. It does. That's a big machine.
But I think I'm one of like 5 people at my gym who regularly uses the Stairmaster, and I would love to challenge the other 4 because I don't think they could beat me at this point.
There's one Stairmaster in my gym, and it almost never gets used. As I said, I told you there was the one period in time where there was a girl coming in wearing unsuitable clothing and would just get on the Stairmaster. And by that, I don't mean like scandalous. She was just wearing like normal street clothes.
Like jeans?
She was wearing, I think it was like a jean skirt and a leather jacket. And then she was just hopping on the Stairmaster and just doing like, 1,000 steps or whatever on the Stairmaster.
There's also that other one now, the Jacob's Ladder, that it's similar to the Stairmaster, but you like on all 4s. People seem to like that one. I just like, you look so strange doing that. I can't do it.
Yeah, in public, that's tough. If you had that in your own house, you could get into it.
The only one that I think is a little stranger than that is that the ski machine one. I don't know if you've seen that one, where it's like the 2 handles up top, and you literally just like you're like doing your ski poles like from up top all the way down.
Would you have a Versa?
It's really strange.
Versa climber or whatever in your
The Versa Climber is the ultimate fitness tool,
So
but
would you
it's
have
so
that?
tough that no one uses it.
Would you have it in your house?
No, because I never use it now. We have one at our gym, and I don't use it. It's too difficult. That's like wrestlers love the Versa Climber.
LeBron James loves the Versa Climber. So.
Yeah, he loves red wine. So
are those two things related?
Yep.
That's his like Tinder profile. Red wine and Versa
I would have
Climber.
that. I would have a really nice, like, doesn't have to be necessarily a theater room, but a really nice room to watch television in.
I wouldn't do the theater room because I just don't like. I don't like going to the movies enough to think that I want to recreate that experience in my house. But I agree with you. I would want to create like people who have like the full home cinema thing. I don't kind of get it because it's like, well, okay, maybe when you're watching a movie, it's nice. You have the like movie night at home, but I don't want to watch like a sports game in this environment. So
No.
I'd want to create.
Give me like a really, really nice TV with a nice couch. I don't want the leather recliner like movie theater ones. I want just a good couch and maybe like a little mini bar in the back.
Yeah, not much then. Yeah, one day. Once this podcast is bigger than Bill Simmons, that's when we splash out on the house.
Yep. All right. Well, with those hopes and dreams, I think we'll call it a day.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Cheerio.